Feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me. So alive, make it last forever. Stop in time, yeah, I'm surrendering. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Oklahoma Esports League. Today, we are going to be watching some more League of Legends. Today, we'll be watching Jenks versus US Grant. I am Amnesia, joined by Phoenix. How are you today, Phoenix?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm ready to watch and comment on some League of Legends. I love the game. I love watching and commenting on it.
Yeah, big League of Legends players here. But as you can see for these comps, we got US Grant on the blue side with the Ornn, the Kindred, the Hui, Morgana, and Jhin. And on the Jinx side, we got the Cassante, Viego, Galio, Twitch, and Milio.
Yeah, right there we see some early trading in the bot lane from Jenks onto US Grant. The Jhin walked up into the bush without any information and ran directly into Jenks' bot lane, waiting there with the early trade potential in Twitch and Milio. With the healing and empowered autos, they can really put some damage onto that Jhin.
Yeah, now just kind of waiting for these waves to crash here. Kind of just looking to play aggressive here on the Jinx side. So far, just the leash coming out from Grant, the Kindred, the Viego actually starting on the top side of this clear here. Maybe looking for this gank in bot lane, but we're going to have to see what this Twitch and Milio can do here.
This Twitch Milio bot lane is actually, if they ended up scaling pretty hard, then they will probably run over this team. They have a lot of peel in Cassante, Viego, and Galio. They have a lot of ways to get out. The Milio can cleanse in and kind of CC with his ultimate, and the Twitch can just sit back and rapid fire kill their whole team with his ult.
Yeah, and you know, Jhin being a very like high burst character versus Twitch being more of like hyper carry ADC, like super fast attack speed. I think what the Jhin is kind of looking for is to catch the Twitch and this Milio off guard. Twitch not having that invisibility up, being able to kind of catch this Jhin out. Catch this Twitch out and look for some high damage. A gank comes out in mid from this Viego onto the Hui. The Hui having to burn the flash there, and not quite much damage done to either side. The Viego taking most of the force there and is going to go ahead and walk out and take more of that clear.
Yeah, you can really see he did have to burn flash, but Hui really does have a lot of tools to keep things off of him. Even if he has to burn flash, he still uses all of his abilities. Got the fear off, got into the I don't know what it's called, his W that does a lot of damage, and fears him.
Yeah, and right now, this Jinx bot lane is getting a lot of pressure, having a little bit of CS up, but also just getting a lot of space in the bot lane here. The top lane also doing a great job of keeping the CS advantage. Cassante, of course, a bit more early game than Ornn is. Ornn kind of just looking to play that late game scaling, having the ability to upgrade items on each of their team members, and especially with having that scaling Kindred as well, and Jin being one of the higher scaling ADCs and Hui being one of the higher scaling mid laners as well. I think US Grant is looking to not necessarily win the early game, but they're looking to just take as much, like as little pressure early as they possibly can. Try to keep their CS leads up, not necessarily try to get as many picks as they can, but just look to not die, I think is the name of the game for US Grant. Especially with Viego and Twitch and Cassante all being kind of more early game. Cassante a little bit more late game than the others, but at least the Viego and the Twitch definitely being a little bit more early game dominators.
Yeah, I completely agree. If you give, especially like a Twitch or a Viego, couple kills early and they get their first item spikes online faster than the other lane opponent might, they can really leverage that lead and take over a lane just like that.
Yeah, and a lot of skirmish coming out in this bot lane. A lot of damage going back and forth. Right now, US Grant still taking most of the damage their way, but still no picks yet. The Twitch is up in CS, and the Cassante in this top lane also about double the CS of this Ornn right now, looking to try to press their advantage as much as they can. The Twitch going to catch this Morgana off guard here, trying to look for some damage. The Kindred is there, but the Viego is there as well. The Flash having to be burned by the Jhin. The first blood will come out from the Twitch onto the Morgana, but a lot of damage goes out on the Twitch as well. The Kindred will clean that one up, but ends up getting knocked out by that Morgana. The root comes out from the Jhin, but isn't going to be able to lock him up. The Hui is going to walk down to try to keep it going, but unfortunately isn't going to clean anything up there. And Jenks is going to come out on top of that engagement with a kill on their Twitch and a kill on their Viego. US Grant only having that pick on their Kindred. But if they had that mark, if that was a mark on the Milio there, or the Twitch there, then, you know, that could have been potentially worth for Grant here.
Yeah, and exactly as we were talking about earlier, it may have been a little bit of gas curse, but now we see that both Viego and Twitch have an early kill under their belts, getting closer to those first item spikes. And during that fight, it was actually really interesting because you watched the Milio peel, that little healing sprite he puts on the ground that followed Twitch around, was really making it hard for the Kindred and the Jhin to actually kill him. So he was able to just pump out so much damage with his passive and his autos and the attack speed stem from his Q.
Right.
He's just a really hard target to kill with Emilio supporting him.
And now with first objective up for Void and for Drake, Grubs and Drake are both up. It looks like this US Grant team is going to be looking for this Drake. The Scuttle Crab was gained for Jenks, but the Kindred actually did hop the wall to take this dragon to try to get it under their noses, but the Viego is going to trade with those Void Grubs as well, going even on these objectives. And I think if you're Kindred, you continue looking for your marks and trying to get as many objectives up as possible. And for the people who don't know, with the new season, there is a little bit of some changes. The feats of strength are the notable one, something that we talk about a lot. There are 3 feats of strength. If you get 2 of 3, then you get upgraded boots and the ability to be able to buy tier 3 boots. And each feat of strength is the first 3 kills is 1, 3 objectives, main objectives taken is 1, and oh my gosh, first tower is the 3rd one. If you get 2 of those 3, then you get the upgraded boots. And if you're Jenks, I think that's what you're looking for.
I completely agree. Getting those upgraded boots, especially into lanes in which case resistances are going to be very helpful, getting increases to those resistances by getting those feats is going to be really helpful, so that they can further leverage the lead that they've already started to build. It'll just compound into a snowball that'll allow them to really take over the game even further.
Right, and this bot lane is actually being shoved back just a little bit by this US Grant team. The Twitch going to go invis, try to get some poke, decides not to push into it. A lot of damage being done on the Milio, but does have a bit of healing in their kit. You know, Milio being able to keep themselves up, sustain a little bit longer than I think this Morgana and Jhin are able to. They're just kind of looking for these poke battles. I think Jhin does have a longer range than Twitch does, so just kind of being able to sit back and hold it. Meanwhile, in this top lane, the Cassante still just keeping a big lead on CS right now for the Jenks. No picks, but you're kind of okay with that. Big skirmish going to come out in the bot lane. The Viego's going to gank. The Hui is coming out with the Kindred from mid. The mark is going to be placed on that Twitch. The ult is slammed by the Hui. Almost max range Hui ulti there is able to clean that up, and that will be a mark for the Kindred because of that assist. What a fantastic ulti from that Hui.
Yeah, it was a really, really good fight from US Grant. Jenks did all they could. They tried their best. That melee body blocked a lot of those Jin shots, and the Morgana Q was just barely out of range. And then Roko on Hui here was really able to sneak in and get that cheeky ult right in between the two blockers to hit the Twitch and secure the kill.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And honestly, you know, both teams pretty even right now. The gold is a bit higher on the Jinx side just because of the CS, but main objectives are even. Kills are currently even. So I think both teams right now, only one more kill for either team, and that will be the first feat of strength granted. There is a lot of pressure being put on this mid tower because of the roams that this Hui is doing into this bot lane. So we might see this first tower be taken by the Galio. The Kindred gank going to come out. We see him jump out of that fog there, not really suspecting from that Galio. A great engage there, but just isn't able to follow anything up. Too close to the tower, unfortunately. And still no other picks to be had. But I think the biggest lead in this game so far has to be this top lane. Look at that 87 to 39 CS.
Yeah, that's quite a sizable gap for a top laner to have on his laner opponent. And although it isn't Orange's job to necessarily do extremely well in lane, it doesn't help that he's not able to do anything at this point. Because he's so far behind in gold, so far behind in experience, maybe at this point, maybe. Yeah, he's a level down, and it'll just become further and further of an issue for when this Cassante starts getting into these team fights with this ult. We've seen many times in the past you can really take over a fight on that Cassante as well, supporting the Twitch and Viego. So
especially if the CS League could be held.
Yeah, for sure. But that Ornn, as long as he doesn't die, I think it's still very doable for US Grant, because when he gets to that level 13, I think it's 13 or 15 when he can start upgrading items,
right,
he will provide the value that you play that champion for.
Yeah, and especially with, of course, another new season boss, that Otacon. If US Grant can grab that Otacon pretty early as it spawns, then that can definitely push them further. There's, of course, two different types of Otacons. Depends on how many kills are granted or how many kills are gained in this game. And this game being a bit of a slower one, probably going to end up being Ruinous, which is the smaller of the two. There's Ruinous and Voracious. Ruinous gives a jungle monster buff or additional rewards. As a skirmish is actually going to happen in this bot lane. The Galio going to come in with the ult. The Kindred having to pop ult to try to keep themselves alive. Maybe looking for the kill on this Milio, but just isn't able to find it. The Twitch is going to get the final blow onto that Kindred. The Jin ult comes out as well and is able to clean up that Milio. What a shot there from that Jin. Gaining another one back in their favor.
US Grant once again showing that they can hit these long-range, perfect snipes with these ultimate abilities. It's really cool to watch.
Unfortunately, though, the fight going a little bit more in Jinx's favor positioning-wise is going to grant Jinx this second Drake with no Void Grubs to respond with. And now another Twitch engage is going to happen in this bot lane. Almost able to take out that Jin there, getting them really low, but just isn't able to clean that up. Low mana as well, that Jin is going to be forced to recall. Still no deaths for this Jin, Hui, or Ornn. And this Cassante still keeping up this CS lead right now. The gold gap is slowly being closed. It was a bit over 1K gold. It was like 1.3K earlier, and now we're kind of sitting at almost exactly 1K down for this US Grant team. If they can continue just keeping themselves alive and not being too aggressive, then I definitely think that they can force this game a little bit back in their favor. And with Rift Herald spawning in 3 minutes and this Dragon coming up in 4, I think that's what they're going to be looking for.
Yeah, keep in mind, I don't know. Do you know who got the first mark?
It was Jenks.
Jenks did. So if Jenks gets this dragon, they'll be very close. They will have the feats of strength,
Yes.
and they will end up taking that aspect of the game.
Yes, of course, since earlier, as we're talking though, this fight happens in bot lane. The Twitch gets really low, but just unfortunately not able to clean up. Has to burn both summoner spells, that barrier and flash gone for this Twitch. But of course, earlier in that last fight, Jenks getting that first pick is going to grant them the feat of strength since they had that third kill first. So now US Grant has to take first tower and the first 3 major objectives if they want to get those boots. And I think if you're US Grant, you don't necessarily need them, but it is going to help you force your way forward. A jungle engage is going to happen on the US Grant side. The Viego going to ult over the wall. Tries to find the Kindred. The Ornn is going to come in for support. Getting really low HP on this Viego, but the Kindred doesn't want to engage too hard on this. Being too low, the Milio going to roam from this bot lane, keeping this 1v3, now 1v4 with the Galio, coming for protection as well. No picks going to happen in this jungle here. Just going to go ahead and back up. The Kindred keeping the CS lead in the jungle here. The Hui catching up to this Galio, and the Jhin winning this bot lane CS matchup for US Grant. Still, you know, this gold, of course, we were talking about being about 1K behind. They've almost tied it back up. This US Grant team is almost even. And as we can see from this point of view, that is the Otacon pit will spawn in this bot lane in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, the Otacon, I haven't played too much around it, but it can be very, very impactful, especially with this revive mechanic that they added with it.
Yeah, for sure. And, of course, it probably will end up being Ruinous Otacon. So they will get that 1 free res. They should. I think that's Ruinous. I never remember the difference between Ruinous and Voracious.
Yeah.
And a nice, nice pick there for the Ornn. The CS lead coming back in this Ornn's favor and also being able to get that pick. Cassante just taking more tower shots than I think they expected. The Cassante tried to ult the Ornn to the side to try to get them out, but just shredding all that armor and magic resist. Just not able to do anything with that.
Yeah, it seemed like a little bit of a... He felt really strong since he had that lead, and now since he took that since he took that engagement, and ended up dying, the lead that he had built is now much smaller, and I don't think he's going to be able to... Oh my goodness.
What a 4th shot from the Jhin. That was almost half their HP. The Milio being taken out by this Jhin. 2-0-2 for this Jhin. Right now, I think US Grant's win condition right now is going to be this bot lane. They are by far the most ahead, having a CS lead, the most CS on their team, and being 2-0-2, you are going to probably be playing around this Jhin.
I completely agree. This Jhin is doing a ton of damage right now. He has his first item online, and the Twitch does too, but the Jhin is ahead 30 CS on the Twitch now, so he does have more gold than the Twitch does, and he's able to really show that, and especially that last fight with that ult. You saw how much damage that did. It just absolutely obliterated the Milio.
Yeah, and of course the gold lead in US Grant's favor now, and the Rift Herald being taken by the Kindred. That is 2 major objectives now for both teams. Now they're just looking to try to clean up these fights after that Kindred was able to... I think it was a steal. I'm not sure, but I think that Kindred might have gotten in there and stolen that one. But still, no feats of strength yet for either of these teams. Both teams on 2 major objectives. Of course, Jenks was pushing for that second Void Grubs, but just wasn't able to clean it up. You have to get all 3 Void Grubs for it to count towards the feats of strength, and they were only able to get 2 on that second one. So now US Grant and Jenks both tied for these major objectives, looking for the third one. This Dragon is going to be the decider here. Now with the Void objective not spawning for another 7.5 minutes with that Baron, this Ocean Drake is really going to seal who is going to get it. If US Grant can take this one and get this first tower, then they are going to be golden. But that mid tower for US Grant is looking...
I think US Grant already got that bot lane tower off Jenks.
Wait, no, they did in top lane. Top lane tier 1 is down. So actually that is feats of strength for Jenks. We just couldn't see it because nobody's bought boots yet. Wait, boots there. But no upgrade. Did US Grant get the kill? I actually don't remember now.
I don't think it's been decided yet. Oh, I don't know. I'm confused.
Because, yeah, it would show as an upgrade.
Yeah.
So that means they wouldn't have got it yet, and the Drake will be taken there. And there it is,
All
the
right.
third major objective to be taken by Jenks.
And there you go. Now that Jenks has these feats of strength there, the gold lead isn't too much bigger yet, but having this buff, if they're able to get this shutdown, especially on this Jhin and maybe even on this way, they'll be looking very, very good going into the mid game here. Mid to late game, I should say.
Yeah, must have been U.S. Grant's pick on that that 3 kills. But now with U.S. Grant and Jenks fairly tied on the gold, both at about 29k gold. This gank going to come out in top lane from the Kindred.
Crazy.
The Cassante
ultimate.
going to try to ult that Kindred away, but just isn't able to follow anything up on it. The Kindred, I think, just looking for their mark, and right now the entire team of Jenks is just doing as much as they can to try and keep this Kindred off of the marks. If you can keep the Kindred down, then that is going to be, I think, a great way to keep yourselves in this game, especially if they can keep pushing their objectives forward.
Yeah, that was really good by this Cassante up here just now. When that Kindred ganked, he was able to both use his Unstoppable to dodge the Ornn from ulting him, as well as ult the Kindred through the wall so he could disengage from the fight, which was looking like a sure loss for him at the time.
Yeah, now this engagement going to happen in this jungle, getting really low onto that Cassante. The Kindred getting really low as well. I think Kindred just looking to try to kite, is just looking for picks. The Cassante is going to come in to try to save it. The Kindred still looking, decides to use that ultimate to try to keep themselves alive. Still no kill happening just yet. A lot of ganks happening. The first one is going to come out. The Cassante is going to go down first, and the Ornn will go down to the Viego and just isn't able to find anything for U.S. Grant. Jenks, I think, solidly grabbing this back in their favor.
That was insane. I don't know how that Cassante lived for so long. Maybe it's the 2 armor items that he has currently. But that guy lived in that fight at a fraction of his HP for so long. And I was just waiting. I was waiting for him to die. He was going to die to something. Someone was going to hit him. But then there was the Galio ult. There was his Unstoppable. There's the shielding he gets from his abilities. There's his knockups. And he just had so much CC and help from his team that U.S. Grant just could not kill the Cassante. That was insane.
Yeah, and I think, again, if you're U.S. Grant, you're kind of just looking to try to push this Jhin advantage forward. Still 2-0-2, and that Voracious Otacon will spawn in that bot lane. Of course, giving the free res and additional gold per champion kill. I don't think the Milio walked up to try to ward. I don't think was ready for U.S. Grant to be behind that bush. Does end up getting taken out, and that will be the first pick. These teams really want to find this Otacon. It might decide how this game goes. Both teams still being very even. Jenks just having the lead on these objectives right now. Unfortunately, the Kindred being a little behind for this U.S. Grant team, but if they can keep finding these marks, especially if they can get this Otacon right now. Jenks still just playing for this bot lane. All 5 players for both teams just looking for this bot lane. The Milio and the Morgana will both come back up, going to work their way towards this bot lane. Just still trying to find this Otacon if they can. Jenks backs up just a little bit. They know whichever team goes for it first is probably going to be at the disadvantage. Otacon, let me tell you, does a lot of damage. So if you're going for that objective clear, you will end up getting chunked down quite a bit. This engage is looking to be started. The Cassante, or the Galio trying to go on this flank, finds a knockup on the way, looking for this Kindred here, does end up getting taken out first. The Ornn still looking to try to keep their team alive. The Twitch going to go in on the backline with that Galio, looking for this way here, getting really low. All 3 of them having to back up under their turret. The Ornn going to go down, and that is 2 picks here for Jenks, and nothing for U.S. Grant just yet. Jhin looking for something here, but just isn't able to find that pick on the Viego. And it looks like that will be the Otacon here for Jenks.
It does look like... that's...
Pick still going off under their tower. Twitch manages to get 2. Can he get out? I think that last tower shot is going to keep him alive.
Oh my
Manages
goodness.
to get out. No picks for U.S. Grant. What a dive for Jenks. That's 4 picks onto the team of U.S. Grant. And a solid lead gained for this Jenks team. And the Otacon available to take now. But I think they're going to delay it for now with how low they were.
I hadn't even gotten to say it yet, but I was about to say it was really good that US Grant didn't have their Jin and their Hui dive because they had big shutdowns. And having Twitch, of all people, the carry on their team, like, get both of those shutdowns is such a good outcome for Jenks and such a tragic outcome from US Grant. Because now Jenks having that much gold, you can see that they're now ahead, like 4K gold. They will be able to just have permanent priority on any objective around the map, and US Grant is going to have to make some really creative and smart plays in order for them to come back into this game.
Yeah, and again, I think if you're this Kindred, just looking for the marks and looking to try to get your objectives back, again, they are a scaling team. If you can get this Ornn to start upgrading some items, if you can get some objectives back in your favor, get some marks onto yourself, and then continue walking around with these fights as a team, as we were talking about, a 2v1 going to go ahead in bot lane, and a big skirmish going to go in the jungle. The Morgana does end up getting caught out. Doesn't look like another pick. The Kindred going to have to ult to save themselves. The Jin going to manage to get themselves out, and the Viego is going to hit the Kindred with a max range Morgana Q, and is going to be able to grab a second pick. 4-0-5 for this Viego. Jenks just continuing to push their lead forward, and what an exciting game so far.
Yeah, it seems like Jenks was channeling their inner Morgana from earlier, and hit
Yeah.
another long-range snipe on that champion. That is insane. That was flawlessly done.
Yeah, and now the Otacon going to be taken here for Jenks. The lead certainly grabbed here. 5K gold lead, and now the Otacon in their favor. I think, again, if you're US Grant, you just got to look to scale back into this one.
I agree. They're going to take both of these objectives bot lane, and then with this pseudo-torp type of guardian angel, what they can do is they can actually look for like fights here, especially with their carries that have shutdowns. They can be a bit more aggressive, because even if they die, they do not lose that shutdown. So they can go fight, they can use their item advantage, they can be really aggressive and take these fights, and if they die, they change it now, so 15 seconds later they'll come back alive and they can keep fighting. But getting that objective is really, really nice for Jenks. It just allows them to be more aggressive and push their lead farther.
Yeah, for sure. And now, with that third dragon and the soul point, Ornn upgrade will come out onto that Jin. That Collector going to be upgraded. And now just looking for this Jin to continue pushing forward and try to get a lead back here for US Grant. Getting a gold lead back just a little bit, kind of pushing forward. Some Jenks players here coming in the back line.
That's a good, I don't know what just happened there, but it looked like Morgana didn't get hit by the Viego W, but it did seem like she did, but she didn't black shield. I don't know if that was just a visual bug on our side, but it was a good black shield by Morgana if that is what happened. But that would have spelled certain doom for that Morgana if that W had connected.
Yeah, for sure. And now just going to take all these backs, look to reset just a little bit. Just clearing some jungle here, kind of slowing the game down just a little bit here. Looking to take the second tower. This Cassante is going to grab it. Maybe gets a pick here for US Grant. And they still have all the reses online for Jenks. Nice route there onto the Galio. The Galio just not able to get out. A lot of damage taken, but just such a tank there, especially with those upgraded Merc Treads.
Yeah, for sure. And that will be the Hui ultimate out from US Grant. That's a good thing to see on Jenks. They might look to go in, but it looks like that ult has a short enough cooldown. But by the next time they look for a fight, that Hui will have it back. But it's a good thing that they had that Voracious Onacon. It's still up because that Cassante didn't lose his shutdown and was able to go back to base and come back into the fight. That's what I was talking about earlier, these aggressive fights. Didn't work out for him, but...
Yeah, now another skirmish going to go ahead in this mid lane here. Almost all the players for both teams just looking for this fight, this threat of this Baron kind of looming over both teams. Looking to see who can take this first.
It does look like Jenks is looking to move on to this Baron, at least force a response from US Grant. it's either they get Baron for free or they force US Grant to come contest them, in which case Jenks might be able to turn and fight them instead. They do have the gold and level advantage.
Yeah, and Jenks just going to quickly clear out this Baron. I think this Kindred is going to look for a steal. The Jhin going to come out. No steal going to happen, but maybe looking to clean up some picks as much as they possibly can. Some of the Otacon reses available for Jenks right now as well. Going to go ahead and take these backs. And you know, Jenks having a solid lead, especially being able to take that Baron. They're just not giving US Grant anything. Kindred will get another mark here, though, with these Krugs. I'm very curious to see how many marks they are at. Unfortunately, we cannot see it from this perspective. But again, if Kindred can keep kind of pushing this forward, if the Ornn can continue scaling, if the Jhin can keep building some items and start doing more damage, then I think it's possible for US Grant to come back into this. But Jenks, right now, just doing a great job of keeping their lead and also not giving too much up.
I would agree. Now that they have Baron, what they can do is they can actually just look for these more safe fights. Have your Cassante, as he's doing, splitting in a side lane, and you can just put a lot of pressure throughout the entire map and do exactly what they're doing right now. They're just playing it slow, taking winning fights, and when they can, they're just going to keep going.
Yeah, and still no big fights really happening just yet. Just kind of clearing waves right now. I think US Grant is doing a good job of kind of letting this Baron buff run out for Jenks, because of course it only lasts a certain amount of time, and they, at this point, definitely do not want to take a fight with Jenks being ahead as they are with this Baron. The Cassante is going to be looking for this Jhin, though. Not really doing a whole lot of damage here.
I mean, it's really good that he forced out that Jin's flash now. Being an immobile AD carry, this Jhin not having flash is a mere death sentence like this.
And the ult over the wall. Cassante, just an unfortunate 1v1 there for Jhin. Not the matchup that you really want to see, is going to be able to take this tower as well. The Baron still had in their favor some more gold granted as well. The Kindred going to walk over and try and stop this one. I think Jenks is just looking for one more big team fight and the game is over. But US Grant just can't give it away.
And we are to that point where we have 2 Ornn upgraded items on the side of US Grant, both on the carry and on himself. We have an upgraded collector. I forget exactly what that's called, but that will be a nice little stat boost to Jhin to help him maybe be a bit more impactful in these fights. He's been doing pretty well for what he's been given so far, but just this, like I said earlier, the Twitch got his items, and he's just a real menace in the backline. When he presses R and out of his Q stem, he just kind of melts tanks, AD carries,
the
anything
Twitch
in
being
his way.
so ahead, definitely going to prove rough. That bot tower grabbed here for this Jenks team. No pick to happen on either side.
No.
A big combo from the Hui coming out, but not a lot of cleanup here. Unfortunately, isn't able to find it. A skirmish looks like is about to happen. The Twitch doing so much damage is able to clean up there. The Viego taking the Morgana down as well, but so much damage coming out here from the Twitch, and that will be a triple kill. Looks like it will be a cleanup in mid as well. The Cassante just doing so much damage, and as you were just talking about, the Twitch damage going absolutely crazy. And I hate to say it, but I think that is the game for Jenks.
Yeah, this is when exactly how Jenks wanted it to go. They had this Twitch in the bot lane that was able to get ahead, and then after getting ahead, they were able to really leverage that lead, especially into these team fights, and just peel for the Twitch. The Twitch sat back and did what he did, Twitch things. He just sits there and shoots people, does a lot of damage, and wins team fights.
Yeah, US Grant was getting a bit of a lead there at the beginning, but just unfortunately started losing it to those team fights to Jenks. And, you know, like you were saying, Jenks doing a great job of just keeping their lead and not giving up too much.
Yeah.
They just wanted to try and press their advantage, get as many objectives as they can, and lock down that Kindred. I think they were doing a great job of just locking the Kindred off objectives and marks, and that really proved to be the game-winning factor here for Jenks. But thank you guys so much for watching our League of Legends game today here at the OESL between US Grant and Jenks. Congratulations to Jenks for taking the victory and now being 3-0. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.